Hello and welcome to the Mal and Johnny Show. And today it's a week of a special anniversary, and Johnny Tudor is going to be featured on the television on Heno on Friday evening. Tell us all about it, Johnny. What's the anniversary?
Well, it's 15 years, I believe, since the first Gavin and Stacey was made.
Right.
So that was the very first series, which I was involved in. I was involved in all three series, but that was the first. I never forget it. I went along to the Royal College of Music for an audition for a little-known program that nobody'd heard of it, so it was brand new. And I did my audition. I read the part for Dave Coaches, and they said I didn't look like a coach driver. So I was walking out, and the guy says, "Hang on a minute, can you do this?" And he threw something else at me. It was a disc jockey. So I said, "Yeah, I can do that." And he asked me to ad-lib a bit, which I did. And I left, they thanked me, and off I went. And about an hour later, I get the phone call, I got the job. I'm the disc jockey. So that's the first job I ever did.
And the thing is, you must have done lots of those type of things, auditions for TV shows, English and in Welsh. And, I mean, most of them, are still somewhere, but they're not as genuinely loved as something like Gavin and Stacey. Did you know on your first outing when you went on set, did you know that it was special, or is it just another
No,
gig?
nobody did. It was another job. And I was doing panto at the time. So we were in rehearsals, I think, actually. And I asked Stan for a day off to go and do this. And he said, "Yeah, fine." So down I went. And I just did it. And they were a nice bunch of people. And I did my part. And off I went. And nobody knew it was going to be the success it was. Yeah. But it was a runaway success. People still buy it, still buy the DVDs. They watch it avidly. I had blokes shouting at me the other week from the top of a roof. Some workman working on a roof. And I'm walking past, I felt like somebody getting wolf whistle. They went, "Oh, it's Marco." I went, "Oh, I don't believe this." Because that's the last part I played was Marco.
The last part, because you played numerous parts. We'll come to that.
I played three parts. They must have thought it was this bloke. He's doing all these different jobs.
So yeah, it's Social Security. See, you've got different names.
That's right. Yeah, got to change the name. Like when you go to a club and you sign a check, Harry Seacombe at the back.
Allegedly, obviously.
Allegedly, yes.
Allegedly. Okay, so actually, it's funny because my boy was working. My eldest son used to work on Doctor Who, and he got a call to become the art director. Would he be the art director? And when he couldn't get out of Doctor Who, and he just thought, "Well, this is just another BBC Three program, wasn't it?" And BBC Three then was on the telly. It stopped being on the telly for a while, but it's back on the TV now. But okay, you first was it an instant hit? Did you know straight away then once it had been on the telly that it was going to be
Well, it was originally on BBC Three. See, and it obviously took off. People loved it, and then they moved it then to BBC One after that. Nobody knew it was going to be the hit it was. It just I don't know what it was. I think it must have been the situations, because it was the two different communities, wasn't it? It was the Essex community against the Welsh community. So you had the two different types of humour. And I think it just caught everybody's imagination, because in the past, I don't know if you remember, most things in Welsh with a Welsh language, not in English, but with a Welsh accent, didn't seem to go network. They didn't seem to grab that. The only thing you'd have Windsor Davies doing a character, with say an Ada Fortman, or our friend Ruth doing Heidi High, but you never have a program all about Welsh people. But this kind of, I don't know if it's because they had the two communities, it worked. Yeah. And it opened up a whole new genre for people from Wales to work network.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it set a number of careers off and running, didn't it?
I mean, I went down to Barry yesterday to do this interview for Heno. It was in Gymraeg, of course, and I had to start thinking, no, hang on, being interviewed in Welsh is a bit more difficult for me because it's my second language. So my apologies now if people watching say I've said a few wrong lads, or I've said a few things wrong. Anyway, I was interviewed, and it was great. It was outside Marco's, but if you go down there now, there's big pictures, like huge, life-size pictures of Ruth and James Corden and all the characters outside this cafe.
Yeah.
And people come and stand by it and want their pictures taken,
I had a friend.
It's a cult.
People down from London, and they were down for a couple of days doing some work. And one of the pilgrimages they want to make was to the street, where they all live in Barry.
Well, I'll tell you another. I may have told you this story sometime, but I was in London having a cup of coffee in Covent Garden on my own. I'd just been to see my agent or something. I was sitting there, and this person tripped on my foot. It's this lady, and off she went. I said, "Oh, sorry that." She said, and off she went. She came back about 5 minutes later. She said, "Excuse me, are you that bloke that's in Gavin and Stacey? I said, yes, I was in Gavin and Stacey. So my husband's got a bus called Dave Coaches, she said, and we take people for rides around Barry in this bus. Would you be kind enough to come down and get on the bus and talk to them? I mean, how random is that? I was in London, you know what I mean?
That's brilliant. Did he go?
I did. I took a few albums, sold a few albums.
And a check made out to Harry Seacombe.
Oh, God.
All right. So, because when they filmed, it's a bit like the Beatles, isn't it? Everybody thought they lived next door to each other,
Yeah.
Like radio presenters, you always think you're best mates. And when you hand over to somebody, you just like going next door and handing a cup of tea and then you do the rest of it. It's not like that when you make a TV program. It's all very much in small sections.
That's right.
But, some of the scenes that you had, the DJ scenes, they were with everybody, weren't they? With Ruth.
Yeah, because it was the wedding. They all had to be there. See, it was the wedding scene. So Pam, the mother, was there. Was lovely Alison Steadman and Larry Lamb and Ruth and James, of course, and Gavin and Stacey. Yeah. They were all there in this, and it was like the big do. And I'm playing all the records and making all the announcements and making all these mistakes on purpose, of course. I called them Kevin and Tracy, I think. Big hand for Kevin and Tracy. No, it was great. And that's when I got to know them all. I became very good friends with Larry Lamb. And I went up to his book launch and everything. And I met a lot of people there. Barbara Windsor was at his book launch, who I knew from back in the 70s when I did a panto. But she was in
EastEnders, wasn't it?
EastEnders with him.
Yeah.
And guess who else was there? Dot Cotton. She just died. What's her real name? Dot Cotton.
Oh gosh, another one. Yes, another lovely actress. Lovely.
And I can remember now what she said. She said, "I'm just going out for a fag." She said because she loved a fag. And who else was there? Oh goodness me, I can't think. My brain for names is terrible these days. I don't know about you. I can't remember who's. It reminds me of that joke. The joke about the guy that comes back from his holidays and he's lovely and sunburnt. And he goes into the pub and the guy says, "Where have you been?" He said, "I've been to Greece, lovely little island." He said, "It was wonderful." "What was the island?" He said, "I can't remember it." He said, "What's that green stuff that grows up your house?" He said, "What, you mean ivy?" "That's it." "Ivy, where do we go on our holiday?" And that's what it's like. I can't think. Oh God,
that's great. All right, so you knew Ruth anyway because she had done panto with you and Stan. So that was.
Well, she hadn't done it with me. She did her first gig with Stan, and I wasn't in that particular panto. I was off on tour with Dorothy Squires, I think. Oh. But she played the Ninja Turtle. And I think she was the ASM, Assistant Stage Manager. I think it was her first gig. I think so, where she got her equity card. It was from, because of Stan's production, yeah. And she never forgot it, to be fair to her. She's mentioned it many times on the television and radio and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I remember interviewing Ruth for a thing called, maybe it's the Mal Pulp Show. It was one of those, lots of executive decision goes into a name of a program. Anyway, we had lots of different people on. She had just been a big hit in Fat Friends, and that's where she met James, isn't it?
Yeah. See, I don't know if this is my opinion. Mm-hmm. She was in Fat Friends with him where she met James, and she was also in East is East. Was it a film? Is it called East is East?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
And it was like, and there were two communities. There was the Indian community and the English community. Oh, and it was the two, and I'm sure that's a kind of a connection. There were two different humours. Perhaps that's where she got the idea. Yeah. Oh, perhaps not, but that's the right thing.
But it is beautifully written. They always say that. Oh, it's beautifully written. But
it's realistic, is what it is.
Yes.
People are like that, and all the characters fit. I mean, even people coming in with one line, they were right for that part.
Yeah.
I always remember once reading when I was writing stuff, and I got this book about writing scripts, and he said, you must never say something that's not going to go through the head first. So, for instance, different backgrounds, you say different things from me. Mm-hmm. Consequently, it's like in Cheers, for instance, Carla was Italian, wasn't she?
Yeah.
And she shouts over to Norm, the big guy who's looking for a job. "Still looking for a job, Norm?" And he goes, "Yeah. Well, my uncle's looking for somebody. What have I got to do?" He said, "Just start the car and taste the food and kiss a guy on the lips occasionally." Because it's mafia, isn't it? So only she could say that line. See what I mean?
Yeah.
And these lines, they were all written, and people who did them, they just fit. I don't know. I remember when I was serving the Elvises, they're all in a line outside.
Okay, tell us the story. Come on, let's set it up. You just can't say when I was serving the Elvis.
Well, okay. I'm Marco behind the counter, and I got 7 people dressed up like Elvis Presley, like they do the thing in Puthcall, you know. And I can't find Stacey anywhere because she's supposed to be working. So I see her eventually. I go, "Oh, Stace, come on! I got 7 Elvises all gasping for a cappuccino." Right? Now I thought it'd be better to say macchiato, because macchiato is real Cardiff, isn't it? So Ruth liked the idea, and she phoned James, said, "Can we say macchiato?" He said, "No, I don't think my mother knows what a macchiato is." So we had to stick to the original.
Oh, that's good though, that at least you had the opportunity to try the line.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a great line in Friends where Joey's talking about he's become quite a big character in one of these daytime soaps, and he's being interviewed, and he says, how much control he has over the script. That he, basically that, although there are writers, it's down to him with the script. And then the next episode, he walks into a lift, there's no lift there, and he's killed. They killed him off, the writers, just to show him who's in charge. I suppose you've got to be careful. I mean, when you were doing the disc jockeying, did you ad lib at all then, or is that all word for word?
No, word for word, the actual dialogue, but I was just ad-libbing, being a disc jockey and doing all the moves, Somebody came up to me, actually, said, "Are you a disc jockey?" I said, "No." I said, "I'm an actor, but I've seen plenty of disc jockeys, so I know what they do,
Yeah.
I'm doing the slides and pretending I know what I'm doing,
So you were a DJ at the wedding. You've already become Marco. I mean, Marco was probably your biggest role in the film, wasn't it?
I suppose it's the most memorable, but the best line I ever had was when I was doing the bingo. See, I'm in the bingo hall, and they all come in to play bingo, and the family all turn up, and Bryn's there, and he says, "All right, Di." I said, "All right, Bryn, out with the family, is it?" He says, "I am Dave. Do you know Dave?" I said, Dave coaches Dave. "I don't know you, but you know my wife from the clinic." I said, "I'd send her your love, but you know where that gets you, and 6 and 9. It was so wonderfully written. Do you know what I mean?
And the other thing is, you care about the characters, don't you?
Yeah, you do.
But I've always, in my attempts to write musicals and stuff, what I've realized is when you get to the crux point, if people don't actually care about the journey that people have been on, doesn't make a difference. It's like it could be life and death, and they're going, "Well, I'll have another macchiato," it's got to mean something. And you get to love them, didn't you? You got to love Smithy, and you got to love Nessa, and all
that's
that.
right. And I tell you what, when they did, was it the final? I think it was the Christmas special, which I wasn't in. But their final scene was so poignant because she actually loves him, you see. Yeah. And you know this all through the series. Yeah. But it's never said. Yeah. And at the very end, she gets down on her knees and says, "Will you marry me?" And he just looks at her. So I thought it was a fantastic ending to that episode because it gives them a chance. If they ever wanted to do it again, they can come back. You know what I mean?
Well, he's leaving the Late Show, isn't he? He's leaving the Late Show on.
Yeah, he's coming back in a year's time. Yeah,
he's probably looking to the future, thinking
he's probably loaded. He won't need any money. He's just coming. He wants to do some British work.
Yeah. And again, a couple of things. Then the running gags, Bryn and the nephew. Yeah, we never knew what happened on the holiday, do we?
Well, not really. We think they're gay, but we're not sure.
Oh no, I don't know. It's something happened.
Because that line when I say 6 and 9, 6, they all look at Bryn.
Nessa had met everybody. She knew.
Oh yeah, she's been in bed with everybody. She's all big stars. Yeah, when I was with so. Yeah. They're great characters, all of them. And Maggie John's character, I loved Maggie. Margaret John. She played the old lady next door, and she used to do stuff like horrendous stuff, but with a straight face. She was wonderful. But I worked with Margaret on what was the other one? High Hopes. Did you ever see that series?
Yes.
And she was the same kind of character they see. This a bit of a rebel old lady to come up with these ridiculous lines,
She'd been in school with my mum. She was in school with my mum.
What did she say? I gave up stripping This is in the other scene. He gave up swimming on account of my athlete's foot, standing on all those beer crates in the pub. That was a brilliant series, you know.
Yeah.
And it never went network again. You see, it could have. It was a fantastic series.
That's weird, isn't it? How similar sort of comedy, but it didn't have the outside elements. It was maybe people outside just couldn't get it. They just couldn't.
I bet you if they played it now, they would. I bet you, if they did it now, because they stuck it out on iPlayer, I think, all the different episodes. But and they were all good characters in that. See.
Yeah.
But see, I remember, I don't know about you, you were saying about writing musicals and stuff and knowing, caring about the characters. But you've got to make it, what this guy taught me was put it through the character's head before it comes out of his mouth. In other words, only he could say that line. If you can switch a line, say, oh, you take that, it's not a good line.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like Carla could only say that because she was Italian. But anybody else saying it wouldn't make sense.
And one last thing, I'm sure you've been asked lots of questions. So were people around you watching when you were filming?
Yeah, they're all stood around. Yeah, they're all stood around because it was a cafe, of course. Yeah. Lots of people there anyway.
Did you get nervous? I was just wondering if you've got a load of people watching you do something in public. I mean, obviously you're a trained actor, you dance and everything, but you've got lights, you've got cameras, right? Everybody's ready, right? Johnny Tudor.
Yeah, well, you don't get nervous because your mind's on what you're going to do, really. It's a bit different to performing, as you know, on a stage and performing to people in front of you. Yeah. So you've got to connect with those people. Yeah. So you haven't got to connect with them. You've got to connect with the character you're talking to. Yeah. Because you must never clock the camera, must you?
No.
You must look at the camera. And I think Stacey was quite a way away from me. And I had to listen intently for their line to come in with my line. Oh, Stacey,
Yeah.
So no, the people just wandering around looking at it. Yeah. It was just one of those things. But you've done outside filming before, and it's different.
It is different, and you can sort of, I sort of feel, you can almost feel like they're laser eyes on you, waiting for you to make a little mistake, and then everybody laughs. And it's like, oh, there we are. And it's like,
I've done a couple of sitcoms in studios where you got a studio audience, and that's good because you can time the laughs.
Of course.
Because the laughs come and you time it and you come in.
Yeah.
It was the same with High Hopes. And what was the other one I did? Oh, the one I wrote called Arrivederci Ronda with Windsor Davis and Ruth Maddock.
Yeah.
Well, I played, you probably never saw that. We only did a pilot, but it was very, very good.
Yeah.
But they didn't take it any further, unfortunately. But we had a live audience. Rod Gilbert was the warm-up man.
And whatever happened to him, eh?
I don't know what happened to him.
All right, brilliant stuff. So it's the 15th anniversary.
15th anniversary of Gavin and Stacey.
And you feature on Heno this Friday.
And it'll run forever. I hope, because I'm still getting royalties.
All right, Johnny Tudor. Have you been in the water this week? Have you?
I went for a swim, boy. I went down to Cold Nap. It was a lovely day. Yeah. And the beach was beautiful, and I thought, I'm going to do this. I've been watching that Wim Hof fella.
Oh, yeah.
But he's sticking people in ice buckets and that. If they can do it, I can do it. Yeah. So I went in, and I was up to my knees, and the bones started to feel they were going to melt with the cold.
You're gonna die.
So I came out and I went back, and no, I'm going to do this. And I did, just dived in. I dived straight out again. But I did do it.
Well done.
I've broken my duck. Now I can do it.
You're looking good on it, man. You're looking good on it. Okay. Yeah. Well, it's been lovely talking about Gavin and Stacey with Marco, the DJ, and what was the third part? Marco,
the bingo caller.
Bingo caller. Yeah. Amongst other things. So it's goodbye from Marco, the bingo caller, and the DJ, and
it's goodbye from you.
We'll see you soon. Bye.